Thanks for coming, James.
Oh, thanks for having me.
Thanks for being here, first of all, Eric. All right.
That's a good question.
It's a tough question. Very tough question.
It's a tough question, Justice.
Yeah, that's an interesting question.
It's a fair question.
It's actually a really complicated question.
It's a tough question.
Oh, the hardest question.
That's a very hard question for me.
Those are good questions.
It's a good question.
What is your religion?
I'm a follower of Jesus.
I am a member of the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints.
I'm a Christian.
Because I don't really have a religion. Non-denominational Christian.
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 Christian. I would call myself a church Christian, not a God Christian.
I search for truth.
Catholic, but I have variations of that.
Christianity. Catholic.
I struggle for Christianity, maybe like a pluralist sort of approach.
Sure.
I'm a follower of Christ.
Where would you say that you fall on the political spectrum?
Moderate liberal.
Conservative.
I'm slightly to the right.
Further to the right, but
More liberal.
A radical green moderate.
I'd call myself a socialist.
Moderate.
Moderate anarchist.
More liberal and maybe democratic in that sense.
Slightly apathetic.
Sort of moderate, liberal, right of center.
More towards the liberal side.
Yeah, I fall under liberal and conservative.
Do you personally feel called to work towards social justice?
Yes.
Yes. Yes.
Yeah, for sure.
yes.
Yes, definitely.
Yeah, then yes, I do.
Absolutely.
Absolutely.
I do.
Yes.
Yes.
Sure.
Yes.
Yes.
So you say that you feel called to work towards social justice. Is this because of your faith at all?
Yes, I definitely feel called to work towards social justice because of my faith.
I feel that God leads us to love everyone, and that needs to be emphasized in our society.
We are all children of a God, a higher being, and we have a responsibility to help our fellow beings.
Growing up in the church, I was always taught to help the people around me, and that's a big part of my faith is to not be self-centered.
Well, I believe that the two greatest commandments are to love God and to love others, and I think that the best way to love God, actually, I see it as almost the only way to love God is to love others.
Ethics that follow from my faith directly point to matters of social justice. I don't think I can personally be seeking to follow God and become a little Christ, a follower of Christ, unless I'm treating others in the way that Christ treated them.
I guess you could say that my faith does. Faith in a really loose context.
Knowing that Jesus spent his life working, to help the poor, the meek, the sick, the elderly, etc., etc. That's what pushes me to do it.
I can't imagine Jesus not acting for social justice. But then at the same time, I see that Jesus was with those people and he cared for them, but he didn't come to change the political structure. He could have made it so that they were suddenly not oppressed, but that's not what he did. I guess he healed people individually, but he brought the greater spiritual freedom, I feel like. And so that's sometimes where I'm like, is Jesus all about social justice?
I think the images and the understandings in their purest form of Jesus is really cool, because he was all about, in my opinion, social justice and sticking it to the man. He was a revolutionary, and from that model, yes, Christianity is very much part of the goal of social justice.
I would say that faith, yes, does play a role, but it doesn't play a sole role.
I would say no.
In my family, at least, faith and keep being nice to people weren't necessarily separate, but they weren't always connected. It wasn't you're nice to people because you're a Christian. It's you're nice to people because that's what you're supposed to do.
I feel called to social justice because I have a deep sense of personal responsibility, and I don't attribute that to a certain faith. I attribute a lot of it to how I was raised, and I was raised in a loosely Christian tradition.
It's more because of my morals, not necessarily my faith.
Feelings and ideas that is a sort of right and wrong of how other people or everyone should be treated.
I wouldn't necessarily say it's my faith. I think it's just more of a personal moral obligation that I feel.
Not necessarily. I think I just help others just because I think it's the right thing to do, not necessarily because of religious feelings.
Do you believe that it's the church's job to address issues of social injustice?
Yes, very much so.
No, I think it's something that we should naturally do.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yes.
Definitely.
Yes.
I believe so, since we are the hands and feet of Christ.
Yes. That part of the church.
Leading by example, they should.
I don't think it's the church's job, but I think it's the individual within the church's job.
Probably, yeah.
You just
They
think
can
it's
help facilitate it, but it's not necessarily their requirement.